Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world of ours. Ron Harris here, MD Online Editor. And I woke up to some bad news. Nathan De Asha got some bad news, and so did all his fans. He was all the way to Orlando. He made it from the United Kingdom to the Orlando airport, and there was denied entry into the United States by United States Customs and Immigration. This is on his Instagram. I want to play the story. I'll let you guys hear what he had to say about it before we start doing any commenting. So let's do that. Let's go to the Instagram stories. Okay. And yeah. So I want to make sure you guys can see this. Yep. Okay. So we're going to turn on volume. Video has no sound. This should have sound. Oh, yeah.
Trying to help me and wish me the best. I really do appreciate it. I haven't slept whatsoever. You guys can see before the rumors start and say, "Oh, he's in the airport." No, I'm not in the airport. As you can see, they let me out the airport in a hotel to return tomorrow. So obviously, I'm not a threat. I don't know what this lady's issue was. I honestly don't. But that's the issue and is what it is. Thank you to everyone who's trying to help. We are taking steps forward. Speaking to a lawyer, going from there, see what we can do. Maybe we can get a stay for a few weeks, fight this and then compete. If not, go bigger and stronger next year, make him fight for more. But this has to change and things need to be changed. And athletes need to be helped. I'm not the only one this year. There's third or fourth, I think. So it's not just me. Again, before people start mowing about over my past and stuff, absolutely BS. You know, I wouldn't fly out here if that was the case. Why would I take that long ass fucking flight, spend all that money? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Don't know what the deal is. I'm confused, stressed, tired. Haven't eaten. Well, I have eaten. I eaten a few cookies, but then forced myself to be sick because I didn't know what I was doing. So I'm in that stage where you don't know what to do, right or wrong, left or right, you know. But again, thank you for the support. I do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Well, guys, we don't know God's plan yet, but we're staying on track for the time being. Sauce boss, 8 grams over on the cream of rice. Do apologise. Sorry, 4 grams over on the protein, 4 on the cream of rice. But we still go. We keep on going. Who knows what can happen? Fingers crossed. So, guys, the saying basically, you know, the paperwork is wrong. I'm reassuring you it's right. It's right, you know. Myself and so many other athletes out there are hating. And we got. Well, guys, what's going on? We're here in Florida in customs, being sent home. We've died all this time. We've trained hard. And we get this far. Well, guys, what's going on? We're here in Florida in customs, being sent home. We've died all this time. We've trained hard. And we get this far.
Okay, thank you.
Well, guys.
Same thing.
So, guys, the saying basically, you know.
All right.
So, guys.
All right. Okay, so yeah, it looks like everyone's just basically posting the same things over and over again there. So yeah, he was denied entry, and a few of the European media outlets that cover bodybuilding, they had the story up overnight because it's 5, 6, 7, 8 hours ahead in other places of the U.S. So one guy who claimed he worked in immigration law said there's something called an ESTA application for citizens of the UK. So I had no idea what that was. So I want to take a look at that. So, okay, here we go. This is it. So UK citizens. So ESTA is the electric system for travel authorization. Needs to be applied online. I don't know if he took care of this or not. This is just something that was pointed out. Not obtaining an ESTA while traveling to the United States would cause a rejection for boarding the flight. So he must have had that because he got on the flight. So this doesn't seem like it would be the case, because yeah, he did have a drug conviction. I believe it was 2019. The last time he was in the U.S. was 2018 for the Olympia, where I think he was 8th or 9th. So EST requirements for UK citizens, but again, I'm not sure if this applies because we did see he got to Florida. So these are the conditions you have to meet within 90 days of staying period in the U.S. Okay, sightseeing or short-term business, the purpose. Yeah, short-term business. Hold a valid passport with IC tip. I assume you had that. No serious criminal records in the past and or not infected to specific infectious diseases or an illness. I don't know what they consider serious criminal records. I don't know if I believe it was a pretty small amount of steroids. It was like selling to somebody he knew. It wasn't like he had a vast amount of steroids. I believe it was just someone that had asked him for some stuff and he did it. And I guess they were already under investigation and they used him as a way to get out of their own legal problems. That's what I recall from the story a few years ago. Not to be employed or staying longer in the U.S. return. So yeah, I don't know if that was the case. Don't know if that was the case, but we'll see. So let's go back. Let's go back. Okay, I don't want that. Oh shit, where's my stream yard? Oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, I'm not surprised. Battlefield Olympia. I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised. I was very much skeptical that Nathan was going to get into the U.S. just based on knowing that he had that issue, the legal issue a few years ago. He was saying it was no problem. It was taken care of, but it doesn't seem like it was taken care of because the guy, but I do believe he thought he was going to get into the U.S. I don't believe he would go to all that trouble, all that money, even if the sponsor was paying for it. It's a lot of trouble to travel to another country, packing all the stuff, and only to be denied entry for what? Why would he do that? So he is imploring anybody that can help him at this point, and I don't know who can help him. He would need an immigration attorney that's able to really get things moving fast. And typically with bureaucratic matters like this, things don't happen fast. They just don't. Take a look at his routine. Let's take a look at his routine from, this was the Charroux Classic France. Yeah, so let's take a look at that. I'm going to push play. Okay, get the sound off. Not even the real music. You really can't have like trademark music, copyrighted music on YouTube. It's such a video. I don't know if you guys realize that. A lot of times when people say, why aren't you playing that routine music? That's why. A lot of times the video is just taken on YouTube. YouTube doesn't care. A lot of you guys get mad when the music is changed. You don't understand. YouTube is merciless like that. They will take it down. Too hard. They don't fit copyright protection. You have to pay for music rights. We're not paying for it. You have to have a license for music. That BMI is like two big companies. So I was saying winning chance. So he qualified for Olympia twice this year already. Yeah, I'm sure. So yeah, guys. He qualified with 2 wins. He won the show in Italy, the Flex Pro weekend, and he won the Charroux Classic in France. I don't know any volume on that. Yeah, so let's hear what you guys have to say. So Battlefield Olympia, he said surprising. No, I'm not surprised. I'm a little disappointed. I was hoping he had it sorted out. I wanted to see him. And, guys get, I hear a lot of like backlash from the Nathan haters. A lot of people don't like him just because he's very blunt, speaks his mind. He's kind of, he's from the streets. He's from the streets of Liverpool. He can rub some people the wrong way, but physique-wise, he deserves to be on the Olympia stage. He's been 7th place before. Top 7 in the Olympia is very good, and I don't care how great the lineup was that particular year. But I think that was a really good year. Heath was in it, Rami, the usual suspects. Raymond Jones. A lot of people saw this coming. Should they move the Olympia outside the U.S. next year? So what would be the benefit to that? It would help out European athletes, fans from not just Europe, anywhere outside the U.S. The athletes would have an easier time, I assume, getting to a venue somewhere in Europe. The European fans, Middle Eastern fans, Asian, they wouldn't have to go all the way to the U.S., but it's still going to be a long haul. I don't know the percentage of people that go to the Olympia who are from the USA versus outside the USA. I'm sure there's a lot of people. I'm just going to take a wild guess. I bet it's probably about 30 to 40% people outside the U.S. that come to the Olympia every year. But they sell out every year. The promoters are based in the USA. Dan Solomon lives in Florida. He's the Olympia president and promoter. Jake Wood, the owner, lives in Arizona. Everybody that puts the Olympia on, the whole Olympia committee, they're based in the USA. It's a lot more convenient for them to be able to set up the event properly to their specifications at a venue here in the USA versus if they had to figure out how to do it in, like, where are you going to have it? Like Romania, UK, Paris. People have said Dubai, maybe. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it would help out some people but for a lot of the US fans, which I'm pretty sure, I'm almost guarantee, I bet money that more than half of the fans that attend the Olympia are from the USA. So now they would have to go to outside. They would have to go to Europe or Middle East or Asia, wherever they decide to hold it, which would be extra. Somebody's going to be inconvenienced and spend a lot more money to travel than someone else. I don't know. So let's see. Mass Riccio talking about the ESTA form. You fill in the form before you go and put in the correct information. You know whether you get accepted or denied before you go. Strange. So, yeah, that leads me to believe maybe it's something that's unrelated to this ESTA form. Maybe it's unrelated to his legal issues that he had in the past. It might just be some paperwork issue or travel. I don't know. Francesco Porcari, they don't have the resources to do that. If you're talking about the Olympia being held outside the USA, I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, that's what you're talking about. They do have the resources to put it on outside the USA. If they really wanted to, it would be a lot of extra expense. The logistics would be much more complicated. Obviously, they'd have to be constantly, when they put on the Olympia in Vegas or Orlando, a lot of the production team flies out there throughout the year. They're checking things out. They're securing things, hiring staff, whatever. So it entails a lot of travel to the venue. And for the US-based Olympia committee, it's a lot easier to go to Florida or Nevada than it would be for them to go 3, 4, 5 times a year before the Olympia over to somewhere like Romania or London. Not to say it couldn't be done. It would be a tremendous added expense. I don't know what Zaza is. What the hell's that? The core fantasy buying tickets is in the U.S. Who do you have higher at the O, Tonio Burton or Charles Griffin? I like Tonio's physique a little bit better. That's my personal preference. Who's in your avatar? You. So, okay. Republic of Texas. I assume you won that. Yeah, I like Tonio's physique a little better. Just the shape, the flow, the roundness to the muscle bellies. Griffin's amazing too. He's got such crazy muscle density in places like his arms, his shoulders, his back. Even his legs have come up a lot. Stevie McNeckbeard. There's your neckbeard in the avatar. Dubai would be a good shot. Help out the Middle Eastern guys. I don't think too many of the Middle Eastern guys, aside from the guys from Iran, they don't seem to have any trouble getting to the U.S. During COVID, that was a whole other issue. Everyone was having a hard time getting to the U.S. during COVID. That's all passed. So Hadi Choopan got here from Iran because he is employed by a U.S. company, Evagen Nutrition. Behruz Tabani, as of now, cannot get into the USA. He's having a lot of red tape issues with bureaucracy trying to get through, and it's not looking good for Behruz Tabani. So Masricho, another thing, you filling in, let you know. Okay. Maybe he didn't put in the correct information. Yeah, maybe he didn't fill out. I don't know. And I don't know if he'll even know. So Francesco Porcari, didn't they used to hold it around the world in the 80s? So I can remember before my time. So my first Olympia was 1991. And from that point on, it was always in the US. 90 was Chicago. 89 was Rimini, Italy. Okay. 88 was Los Angeles. 87 was Gothenburg, Sweden. I think 86 was New York. I want to say 85 was Belgium. 83 was Munich, Munich, Germany, the year Samir Bannout won it. 82 when Dickerson won. I think that was London. So yeah, and in the movie Pumping Iron, it was Pretoria, South Africa, right? It wasn't not Johannesburg, it was Pretoria, South Africa. So yeah, the U.S., I believe it was held in France, in Paris one year. So the Olympia, the Mr. Olympia used to be held in Europe and even in Africa at points in the past. Never in Middle East or Asia that I know of. But yeah, they used to do that all the time. But it seems to me like once they had established all those years that it was held in Las Vegas, I don't think they ever meant to leave Las Vegas. The only reason they left Las Vegas back in 2020 was because of the COVID restrictions that were still in place in Nevada, where they couldn't have a gathering of that many people. Florida, with Governor Ron DeSantis, was much more lax with gatherings and events, concerts, sporting events were still being held. So the Olympia had moved to Florida. In 20 and 21, it was in Orlando. Last year, it returned to Las Vegas, and now it's back in Orlando. It has not been confirmed, but it seems like the plan moving forward is going to be alternating yearly Las Vegas and Orlando, which is still obviously doesn't help out any of these guys from outside the U.S. Stevie's telling Mass, Nathan got done for selling gear out of his gym a few years ago. Yeah, but I believe he got a suspended sentence. He didn't do any time, but I believe he pled guilty to that just to get it over with. And because there wasn't going to be, the deal was that he wouldn't serve any time. It was a suspended sentence. I believe, I'm not, please don't quote me on that, but that's my recollection. And I also remember it was selling to some gym owner and his wife or something. And it wasn't, truckloads of gear. It was an amount that could easily be considered personal use, because you're allowed to possess steroids in amounts for personal use in the UK. You just can't sell them, which is really odd. It's like, where are you can have steroids, but you can't legally buy them and you can't legally sell them. But if you're caught with steroids, I guess you're okay. You're not going to be prosecuted, which is really strange, but who might argue? I believe Canada is the same way. I believe in Canada, you can possess personal use amounts of PEDs without being punished criminally. Battle for the Oil Olympia, which would be a synthol-based Olympia, holding on international waters where legalities can be freely ignored. It's like a floating barge or a cruise ship or something. I don't know about that, dude. Chestnut is confirming 82 the year Chris Dickerson, the late Chris Dickerson, rest in peace, won. It was held in London. Mohammed Akhtar, they need the Olympia in the UAE. Well, the Olympia doesn't need it there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what advantages there would be to the Olympia promoters, maybe if they could get better, higher paying sponsors or something. But I mean, they do a really good job of securing plenty of sponsorships for the event, which is what you need. You need a lot of money to back this thing. It costs millions and millions of dollars to put on an event of this caliber, spectacle. What's the word I'm looking for? But yeah, you got the whole expo going on. You got all these other events in the expo. You have to hire a ton of people. You're renting out the halls. It's a lot of money. Plus, they're flying out. Don't forget, the Olympia is the only contest, to my knowledge. The Arnold might be. I believe the Arnold only does it for the open men. But the Olympia, every Olympia competitor has their airfare and hotel covered by the Olympia committee. And I believe I spoke to someone on the committee last year. It was over $1 million just for that, because it was over 400 athletes last year that they had to fly out and put up in the hotel for, I think it's like 4 or 5 nights, maybe more. I don't know how much there are only 18 guys. Yeah. So I think Raymond, we're down to 18 now. I did a show with Giles. We did our MD Power Hour, and we talked about who was qualified for Olympia. And we eliminated some people. Rami was on the list, Ian Valliere, Kamal. There were some people that we eliminated. Nathan was like a question mark. We were worried about that. So I believe we are down to 18, it's a much more manageable Mr. Olympia. But that doesn't really help out the time aspect because we still have divisions like classic, men's physique, bikini, I think even figure. But I remember those divisions in particular had huge lineups. Like scrolling down, you couldn't even put them on, you couldn't see them on one page. It was crazy. Let's see. Laws here. Well, laws are flawed everywhere, Mohammed. Nobody's happy with all the laws in their country. Trust me. David Alvini, you sell drugs somewhere in the world. The U.S. doesn't want you here. Break laws, lose privileges. Yeah, I know that it's a lot harder to get into the U.S. than it used to be. And I saw a lot of comments on the various Instagram pages where people saying, "Well, illegal aliens. I think we have like 10,000 people crossing to the USA illegally every day." Which is, they're coming over the border from Mexico into California, Texas, New Mexico. We share Arizona. We share border. Mexico borders, I think, 4 states in the southwestern USA. So, yeah, they're saying, we have all these people flooding in, and we're worried about this one guy who sold a little bit of gear. We can't let him in the U.S. Yeah. In regards to steroids, yeah. Terrible news. Could have been 7-10 and got redemption over Regan. Yeah, I don't know where he would have placed. Nobody knows. You guys can all guess and speculate, but until you get to the show, you have no idea. Let's go to Nathan De Asha. You guys want to see Nathan versus Regan? Let's go. Let's find that. Let's find that, shall we? It's somebody else's report. I don't want to mess with their report. Yeah, I'm not going to go into somebody else's videos and steal their footage. Francesco, are you satisfied with how the stage event last year? I remember there were complaints about the delays for the open class show. It ran very, very long, but that wasn't because there were delays. It wasn't because they weren't running the show efficiently and smoothly. They were. The underlying problem is there were over 400 athletes, and they all earned their way there with a win, and they all needed to be judged fairly, and it takes time. So if you have a class, say 60 men's physique guys come out, 60, that's enormous. So in a call out, you typically can't look at more than 6, maybe 8 at the most physiques at once on stage and really be able to fairly compare them. And meanwhile, the judges are looking at, the rest of the 60 on either side of the stage in these crowds, and they're trying to decide. They saw them come out in groups of, 5 or 6 before that. It's a long process. It takes time to do it right. And, on one hand, people are complaining it takes too long. We're all complaining because we're sitting there for hours and hours, and the athletes are backstage. It's crowded. A lot of them have nothing. They ran out of food. They didn't bring enough food because they didn't think they were going to be there that long. But if you're one of those people in a class with 60, 70 competitors, maybe, you earned your way there and you don't get a good look. You look really good, but maybe you were overlooked. And that it does happen when there's that many people. Some people get lost in the shuffle, in the confusion with all those bodies up there. You're going to be very upset. Your fans are going to be very upset. You can't make everybody happy. You just can't. Is Nathan out? He's not given up yet. They're talking to lawyers. I don't know, his sponsor Yamamoto, maybe they'll get involved and try to intercede on his behalf. Although they're not a US-based company, that would, ideally, if you're sponsored by a US company, you're someone who lives outside the USA, but your sponsor is a United States-based company, that does, I believe, allow you to get a work visa. That's how Hadi Choopan has been getting here the past couple of years, because he is an employee of Evogen Nutrition, Honey Rambod Supplement Company. That's how he gets in. Nathan is going to keep trying. He's dieting. He had already, I believe, said, I'm not sure where he said, that he was going to do Prague anyway. He had planned on continuing to do shows. He's in shape and he wants to keep winning as many shows as he can this year. He's already got 2 wins and a 2nd place this season. So if for any reason he can't get into the US for the Olympia, which is, it's awful, but here's what his options would be. Okay, there's the Romania show, which is November 11th, the weekend after Olympia. There's the Prague show the weekend after that. There's a Japan Pro the weekend after that. These are all open shows. So there are 3 weekends in a row that he could compete if he wanted to. If he can't get into Olympia, don't know who else is doing these shows, but Romania, Prague, and Japan, those are all options for Nathan. And they're the 3 weekends, bam, 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 right after the Olympia. So, magnitude is the word. Thank you, Z. Magnitude. Scope, another word I guess you could use for that. It's a lot of moving parts, something like the Olympia. If you go to the Olympia and really pay attention, I have a tiny bit of experience from many years ago with event production. I was just part of a team. I wasn't like in charge. So I worked for American Sports Network, who used to produce the Fitness America pageant and the Musclemania events. They still do. But I remember, those events, we would hold them every November, but it was like all year long. We were putting together the venue, the staff, sponsors. It was, having banners made. It was a long process. And this was back in the 90s. This is going back way back. So it's a lot more complicated now. So they have, the Olympic Committee, they have a production team where they're working all year long to put this thing together. They start working on the Olympia for next year, I believe, a couple days after the Olympia this year wraps up. Head Jam Fuad, U.S. visa is so hard to get. Maybe they need to change this place like back in the day. A lot of good guys are dropping out. Yeah, they have to weigh it. What's the advantage versus the disadvantage? Risk versus reward. Would they make, it's a business. You have to understand it is a business. The Olympia it's a sporting event, but like all sporting events, like pro football, soccer, basketball, hockey, baseball, it's a business. It's about making money. It's a for-profit business. So if they would stand to make a lot less profit holding it outside the USA, and I don't know if that's the case, but if they crunched the numbers and decided we could make a lot more money keeping it here in the US, maybe just because one simple fact, they have a pretty large staff that they would have to fly over there, and not just once, a few times, because they'd have to do things with the venue and local people. Anyway, yeah, so we'll see. Mads Jensen, living in Denmark and you watch bodybuilding shows in general suck. They did Helsinki, that was Finland, yeah. 92, and since it's been the US, yes, you're right. So 92, you're right. It was the last year that the Olympia was held outside the USA. It was Helsinki, Finland. It was Dorian Yates' first win. It was Ronnie Coleman's first Olympia. He placed dead last. Kevin Leveroni was second place. It was held in a hockey arena there where they had a hockey game earlier in the day. So it was very cold in there. And then they changed the staging and the setup to hold the Olympia. But the guys were still complaining. It was so cold backstage, they were trying to pump up. They could see their breath, which, you're in posing trunks and oiled up. You don't want to be in a cold ass environment. Mohammed Akhtar, if the Olympia is in the UAE, it's opened the doorway to more exposure. People can travel from all over the world and go to the UAE. That's why I said, it's just my opinion. Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe that would be a great idea. Maybe it would work out very well. I don't know. I know that Dan Solomon and Jake Wood, if they got together and looked at it, they would make their decision based on what's best for the Olympia, not necessarily the athletes, because most of the athletes do get here and they are paying their way. So it's not like the Olympia, it's the fans who have to have the added expense, fans from outside the USA, where it's a lot more expensive for them to come to the US. So it would save, let's say it's held in the UAE. That's great for those people, but still people from all over Europe, people from all over Asia, maybe from Africa, they have to make their way to the UAE. The Americans have to, it's a lot more money for a lot of other people. So either way, somebody loses out. If someone gets massively inconvenienced. We think about reducing the categories, classes. Francisco, last year, everyone's trying to figure out, what do we do? How do we make this Olympia run in a more timely fashion so the judging doesn't go Friday night until 1 a.m. like it did last year? I think Saturday we were there till 1 a.m. again. So we're there for hours and hours. Limit the amount of competitors. How do you do that? So there's only two ways I can think of. One, you limit the amount of shows, because every show winner gets to go to the Olympia, remember? Are they going to do that? I don't think so, because IPB Pro League is also a business. It's a business, and they're getting sanction fees from every professional contest promoter. So anyone that wants to put on, say, I want to put on a pro show, the Ron Harris Pro Classic in Boston, just talking out of my ass here. I believe you have to get approval, and then you'd have to put money down, and you have to pay sanction fees. And I believe it's per class, per division, and open is the most expensive sanction fee. So there's a ton of shows, and most of them are not open bodybuilding. I believe it's cheaper to pay for a sanction to have a pro bikini show, pro men's physique, pro figure, which is why you see so many contests there's a big regional bodybuilding show, but then they also have the so-and-so pro classic, but it's only like 2 divisions, maybe 3. A lot of times you'll see the pro show is just like men's physique and women's bikini. It's just like 2 divisions. So we have all these shows, and you end up getting 50, 60, 70 people from those divisions at the Olympia. One idea I had, no one's going to, and the athletes would rebel. The athletes in those divisions especially would be very upset. I said, maybe if there are more than 30 pro shows per division. So let's say bikini has 60 pro shows in 2024. Maybe you make it so they have to win 2, unless it's the Arnold or the Ms. International or the Olympia or something like that, where it's a much higher caliber. You'd have to win 2. Sounds like it's going back to the point system. They got rid of the point system almost immediately after last year's Olympia, because a lot of us thought that's why there were so many people. But then when we stopped and looked at the numbers, only the top 2 athletes per division with the highest point standings, total points, those are the only ones that are getting to the Olympia on points. So if there are 10 divisions, that only accounted for 20 of the people that were on stage last year being judged out of over 400. So point system didn't really even make a difference. So at this point, I'd say just bring it back. What does it matter? Oil platform would be fitting. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some SEOs being oil platform. I don't want to go to an oil platform. To be honest, I feel more pity for Beirut, says Frank. Yeah, Beirut, according to what Milos was saying, Beirut had applied for his visa for last year's Olympia because he had qualified last year as well. What did he win? The Arnold Brazil, or was that this year? He won a show last year. He qualified, couldn't get in, and he had just gotten a response from last year trying to get to the Olympia only a month or 2 ago. So things move very slowly. Yeah, Beirut is also in a really bad spot just because of where he's from, Iran, which, the whole political climate. I'm not going to get into the whole war going on over there in Gaza, but Iran seems to be entangled in it, and unfortunately, I think Iranian citizens are they've had a tough time getting to the U.S. for many, many years. We haven't had diplomatic relations with Iran since the Shah left they deposed the Shah in 1979, and the fundamentalist government took over with Ayatollah Khomeini. We have not had, and they took 52 Americans hostage. Yeah, we haven't had any diplomatic relations with Iran since then. So it's tough for Iranians, even the athletes to get in. Nathan and Beirut's definitely out now. No, neither one is definitely out. They're both still trying to get in. But at this point, we're less than 2 weeks out. So the judging of the show, I mean, they have to be there. I think they have to be there like Wednesday before the show. Thursday's the press conference. I think the latest they can even get there is Wednesday. So we're looking at, this is Saturday, like 10 days. They have 10 days to get clearance to get to the U.S. It's not a lot of time. Things, like I said, things do not move quickly with customs, immigration, and visas and things like that. And your priority, your emergency is not their emergency. It's government workers and government bureaucracy and red tape. Yeah, so it's not looking good for either one of them. They're not definitely out there. Still trying. They still want to get in. They're in shape. They're ready to compete, but they can't right now. Francisco, I think Nathan was well aware of the impossibility of making hence why he took part in 3 shows. That's one conspiracy theory that has some plausibility, but why would he have gone to all the trouble to fly here? He did fly. He made it all the way to Orlando, and they wouldn't let him through customs. So if he knew he couldn't get in, why would he have done all that? Just for what? Sympathy? For what? It doesn't make any sense. He could have just as easily said, there's some paperwork issues or visa issues. Sorry to my U.S. fans. I won't be at the Olympia, but I'm going to do these shows. I'll do Romania, Prague, and Japan. I don't think he knew. I think he was really trying, and he seems, unless he's some amazing actor, looking at his Instagram, he seems very upset, very down, crestfallen. Because, he's ready to compete in the Olympia. He has not been in the Olympia since 2018. So he's missed 2019, 20, 21, 22. He's already missed 4 Olympias. This would make 5. That's a lot of Olympias to miss. That's a half a decade of Mr. Olympias. And these careers, most of these guys in the pro ranks don't have a 10-year career is great as a pro. Everyone says, well, Dexter was in. Don't compare Dexter to anybody else. Very, very few people have 20-year pro careers. The average pro career is about 5 years for most guys, and then they're gone. The better ones who are being successful, like a lot of them after a few years, they see there's no money in this. I'm not doing that well. And they just say, I'm not going to compete anymore. It's not really worth it. I'm spending a lot of money for nothing. And I'll just be a coach, trainer, get my, be an influencer. So most pros don't stay around more than about 5 years. The guys who do really well, more like between 5 and 10 years. And then typically it's something like injury, health problems, or they just they're done. After like 10 years as a pro, it's a very long time. Like Rami has been a pro now for 10 years. He made his pro debut in 2013 at the New York Pro, and he won it again in 2014. But Rami may never compete again. He might, but I'm saying if he doesn't, he had a great run. 10 years, and he came out with a bang. He won his first pro show. He was already being talked about. He was immediately top 6, 7. I think he was like 7th in his first Olympia. He's been in the mix at the Olympia from day one. He's got 2 Olympia titles. So if we never see Rami again on stage, he had 10 years and he did very, very well for himself. Benji Perez just says, damn. Ernest Sherwin says, seems like a cocky dude anyways. Yeah, I mean, God looks out for those who care about all and don't stop the trash talk. Yeah, I know some of you guys don't like Nathan. That's fine. Not everybody needs to like everybody. It's fine. You can have your opinion. But why should he do them when he can't do the Olympia anyways? Well, because it's more money. They're still pro shows. You're talking about the post-Olympia shows. If he can't get to the Olympia, if he can't make it, which is looking like right now he can't, why not try to win 3 more shows? He's got kids. He's got a family. He's got mouths to feed. He's a professional bodybuilder. This is how he pays his bills. He's not paid a salary by the pro league. He's got his sponsorship deal with Yamamoto, but and he's got a clothing sponsorship. Probably pays him a little bit, a good amount too. But winning shows, that's the prize money. He wants the prize money. Why not? Okay, this is a reference to an old song, the IBB. He fought the law and the law won. Yeah, I don't know who originally did that song, but The Clash did a good remake of that. Yeah, we just addressed that. Nathan was a lock for top 10, says Benji Perez. This year is way weaker than last year. I don't know about that, dude. I don't know about that. Weaker than last year? Where's my list? Gosh. Okay, so I don't know if you want to call this a weak Olympia. And as I'm reading this, maybe this is how I think it's going to place. Maybe it's not. Derek Lunsford, Hadi Choopan, Samson Dauda, Nick Walker, Andrew Jack, Brandon Curry, Michael Krizanek, a.k.a. Grizo, Hunter Labrada, Nathan, I'm not going to cross him out yet, Regan Grimes, Tonio Burton, Hassan Mustafa, Theo De Guerrero, Phil Clayhar, Roman Fritz, Andrea Presti, Charles Griffin, Ross Flanagan, Justin Shire. Yeah, some of the names toward the end, maybe they're not going to place very well, but geez, you got Hadi's a Mr. Olympia champion. Brandon Curry's a Mr. Olympia champion. Samson just won the Arnold. Derek's a 212 Olympia champion, runner-up last year. Andrew Jack, I think it's a pretty strong lineup. Yeah, we've had stronger years in the past. In the Heath years when it was like Heath, Rami, Roden, Curry. We had some great Olympias. I wouldn't call this a weak Olympia year, though. I don't think that's fair to these guys to say that. Maybe I think you meant to type more there. Only 3 guys won't place this year. Yeah, so, well, I mean, it's top 15. So if we take out Nathan, we're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so top 15 get placings, and after that, it's usually 16, 16, 16. Everyone that doesn't make top 15, like last year, there were 32 guys in the show, so there were 15 guys who got placings, first place all the way down to 15th. Who was 15th was Justin Rodriguez last year. He was the final guy to place. Everyone after that, tied for 16th. You don't get a placing because, like I said, judging is hard. And that was only with only 32 guys. Something like 60 or 70 competitors. You know, I know if you're someone who's in like the fourth call out, you want to know whether you placed 40th or 48th, but there's no time to do that. And it doesn't even matter. It's like you were way down. You were way down the list. You did not do well. So I don't even see the point. Yeah. So Francesco's answering that question, why compete in those other shows? To earn money and be relevant. But yeah, I mean, build his brand up even more because he's got 11 pro wins now. If he wins all three of those shows, who knows, could happen. That would be 12, 13, 14 pro wins. That's a good amount of pro wins. It's certainly more than most pros. Certainly more. So Benji's pointing out we have no Rami, no Bonek, no Ian, no Nathan, no Beiruz, no Brett. Yeah, Brett just pulled out a few days, like earlier this week. C&B's Gardens, criminal record must be pretty damn bad to be on whoever list he's on. No, I don't. It's not a violent crime. This is what I remember about it. And if somebody wants to correct me, please do, or even in the comments later. From what I understand, there was some guy that was a gym owner. According to Nathan, the guy asked him to help him out. He sent him in the mail because I guess it was probably like a very inconvenient amount of distance to drive. The guy asked, "Can you help me out? Send me a few things." And it was just enough gear, I believe, for his personal use, but sending it through the mail, he gets arrested. Didn't do any time, but I believe he pled guilty just to get it all over with because it was negotiated that if he did that, he would get suspended sentence, would not. And I think it was 12 months. Suspended sentence means he didn't serve any time. And it did go on his criminal record. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's the case here. I don't even know if it's all going to come out because where are we going to hear it from? Nathan's the only one that's going to tell us. And is he going to be forthright and tell us every little detail? Is he obligated to do that? Does he feel the need to do that? I don't know. I'm not speaking for Nathan. I don't like speculating because many times in the past when I've speculated, it's come back to bite me in the ass hard. Nathan, bad boy? Yeah, I guess. I mean, bad boys, bad boys. John May says, they better move it. No chance Hadi gets in next year. I don't know, John. Yeah, I mean, if you're saying, God forbid the U.S. and Iran go to war, God forbid. We don't need any more wars. Nobody needs any wars, obviously, but the U.S., we really don't need any wars. I mean, we had all those years with Iraq and Afghanistan, that whole mess. We don't need to be fighting any more wars overseas, whatever. But if we go to war with Iran, God forbid, I don't know if it would affect Hadi that much because Hadi is an employee of Evogen Nutrition, which is now based in Dallas, Texas, Honey Rambod's company. Worst case scenario, maybe he could move here. I don't think Hadi wants to move here. He's got kids and they're, in school in Iran with friends, and he owns a gym there, I believe, as well. So I don't think Hadi has any interest in moving to the U.S. He doesn't speak the language at all. He's hearing impaired. I think it would be a very difficult transition for Hadi to move to the U.S. for multiple reasons. So I don't see him doing that, but who knows? You never know. I mean, if that's what it took to keep him here competing and he still felt he had a few more years, good years competing, maybe he would go that route. I don't know. Wayne McKay, if they held the Olympia in Canada, they would save money. I don't know. I don't know if they would. How would that save us? How would that save them money? I know like film production companies often, they do their TV and film production a lot of times in places like Vancouver, Toronto. I think Vancouver is very, very popular for film production for whatever reason, because it's a lot less expensive. They don't have to pay the unions. The U.S. is, it's all these unions. You got to pay the Teamsters and the electricians union, all these different unions. You have to pay them a ton of money. A lot of times people are just standing around the set doing nothing and they're being paid like $50 an hour or something. So, yeah. Here we go. A dissenting opinion on the UAE. Where is it? Benji Perez says UAE would be terrible. There you go. See, not everyone wants to go to the UAE. I mean, I'd like to go there just to visit Dubai, but it's a long flight. It's a lot. It's just inconvenient. You got to go to you have to think of convenience. How many people would be inconvenienced? Right now, it's everyone from outside the USA that's inconvenienced. If we move it to Dubai or somewhere else, Canada's not that far. But then you'd have all the US fans and the Olympia committee they all live in the U.S. Now they got to fly over there. So Benji says, think of women's categories, think of after parties. No one's trying to be detained on trumped up charges. I don't think Dubai is like that. I think Dubai is, I don't know much about Dubai. I've never been there, but I believe it's a lot more westernized than most of the Middle East. I think you could have discos and after parties and the women's categories. I mean, they have women's competitions, pro competitions over there. So, I don't know. Francesco Pacari, I see how they're incentivized in having as many pros as possible. Still, I think the general level is getting worse. Too many pro cards around. Oh, you're preaching to the choir on that. There are way too many pros. I mean, sometimes I walk through my gym, Bayshore Athletic Club. We have some pros there that you don't know who they are. They're probably, actually, Danielle, I shouldn't say it. Danielle has competed this year. She did pretty well, Danielle Barros. But there's a few people that have turned pro that go to my gym, and there's more pros in my area. I'm in Massachusetts. A lot of them, you have no idea who they are. They've never competed in pro competitions, probably never will, because in their hearts of hearts, they know they're not good enough. But especially a lot of masters, it's, I'm 54, so I can talk about masters and I don't sound like I'm being ageist. But they've given a lot of pro cards out to masters who have no viable chance of placing in an open show where it's not just for 40 or 50 plus. Yeah, there's too many pros. It's not prestigious. Like I say this all the time. Muscle Mag International, great magazine, the late Robert Kennedy, rest in peace. Bob Kennedy used to have a page in every issue called Pro Rankings. And they had the rankings. It was kind of like a point system based on their contest wins and everything. And it was every pro, every male and female pro, because remember, there were only 2 divisions in those years, men's bodybuilding, women's bodybuilding. And it would be a list of the top ranked pro, which was usually Mr. Olympia at the time, all the way down to the bottom ranked. And they could fit all those on one page, and the font wasn't tiny because there were like 70 male pros and like 40 female pros. I'm just estimating. This is many years ago. Now, I guarantee you, if you take all the divisions, all the people who have IFBB pro cards, I bet you good money. It's like 3,000, 4,000. It's in the thousands. There's no way it's not in the thousands, because every big pro qualifier, like the USA Nationals, North American, every big pro qualifier in the US cranks out between like 50 and 60 pros, maybe more at each of those shows. So do the math. It adds up quick. Olympia Amateur, we have a few of those every year. A bunch of people turning pro in those divisions. Even the Junior USA and Junior Nationals, which in the past were not pro qualifiers. Those are pro qualifiers now for everything except bodybuilding, which is odd because we're the division that started all this. But in those in those contests, I think it's like top 2 in a lot of the classes. So yeah, we have way too many pros. I'm off on a tangent. Trailblazer, I wonder what's in his criminal record. Well, we just went over it. It was just selling gear. I believe it was just a personal use amount, but I believe he mailed it. Put it in the mail. So there you go. To another guy in the UK, a gym owner that he thought was, a trustworthy guy, but the guy had set him up. I think he was under investigation, and he basically threw Nathan under the bus legally to save his own ass. Like he gave up Nathan so he would avoid trouble. Trailblazer, I wonder if Hadi will have visa issue again to the U.S. this year. So Trailblazer, he's been here for like 3 weeks already. For those of you who don't know, go to the eVision Nutrition Instagram page. I could probably do it for you now. Yeah, you guys want to go there? Let's see if I can pull it up for you. Let's go back to Instagram. Go back to Instagram and I'll show you some Hadi. Show you that Hadi has been here and he is all set. Evo backspace. Evo Gen Nutrition. So let's go to a post with Hadi. Was this 3 weeks out? Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to share this on the. This is a pretty cool little video clip. Okay, so this is 3 weeks out. So this was filmed last week. It's here in Texas, And Hadi and Derek Lunsford, who are both, they're 1 and 2 in Olympia. They're both coached by Hani Rambod, and they were both in Dallas to train there because Hadi is an employee of every gym. I'm sorry. So Hani brings them out well ahead of time because they did have those issues in the first couple of years where it was so hard to get him here, and he showed up at the very end. Show so close. Now we're just showing you Evogen ads. Yeah. I want to find some training stuff with him. Some more training stuff. Yeah, I'm not trying to make this an Evogen ad. Back training, Evogen Nutrition Gym with Hadi and Derek. That was 3.5 weeks. Missing CBUM. Yeah, he coaches CBUM too. So this was 3.5 weeks out. Hani has his own gym that he set up in the Evogen Nutrition headquarters. It's all this great Panada equipment from Italy that Panada sent over. Probably $1 million worth of equipment. So Hadi does not. They don't try to get him here at the last minute like they did in the past. I remember one year he showed up 48 hours before the show. It was so stressful. I think it was 2020, and he was holding a ton of water. Friday night, he was definitely holding water. Saturday night, Hani was able by the following evening, Hani was able to get it off of him, and he looked great. And I think did he get second that year? Yeah, sorry if I don't remember everything he's done. But yeah, so Hadi doesn't wait till last minute. Hani Rambod gets in here well ahead of time now, like weeks, so that he doesn't have that stress of worrying. Am I going to get there in time? How am I going to get rid of this water from 20 hours of flying all over the world from Iran to the U.S.? There's Derek. Derek's looking freaking large. They're both enormous. They're both great. I personally think Derek's taking it this year. That's my opinion. You guys can have your own opinions. That's cool. But man, I think Derek's on another level this year. Derek has improved so much since last year. His back was awesome anyway. Now it's like it might be the best back in the sport right now. I don't know who's beating it. Who has a better back than Hadi right now? I'm sorry, than Derek. Yeah. Okay, these are all ads for hot chicks with Evogen Soloist. Oh, we got one more. Yeah, they've been there for a while. This was posted October 6th. Yeah. So you can see Hadi's been there they got him there like a month ahead of time, which is very, very smart. Very smart. Yeah. Big Mike Cox, living in the Tampa, Florida area. Mike, looking forward to seeing Mike and his wife, Mandy, at the show. I miss you guys in Tampa. I was not there. I'm so bummed, but I'm happy I'm going to see Mike. Mike and Mandy, going to see you guys in Orlando. For those of you who don't know, Mike is a legend on the forums. He just turned 50. Happy birthday, like a week or two ago. OG bodybuilder like me. Goes back to the 80s, knows all the old bodybuilders. Competed for many years himself. Looks great. Big Mike Cox, everybody. Mads Jensen from Denmark. William Bonac has stated that it's unfair for the European athletes to have to travel to the U.S. every time, so perhaps France. Yeah, but then the Americans would say, well, no, I guess if you had it every other year, the Americans couldn't complain because they could say, well, we still get to stay here. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge added expense. It's not expense. It's just inconvenient because the Olympia does pay for all the athletes. So it's not like they're paying more money to travel here than they would if they were having the show in Europe because the Olympia pays for their airfare and their hotel. So it's not a money issue. It's just inconvenient for them. And yeah, then you have the visa. I shouldn't just brush over that. You have the whole visa issue. It is hard for a lot of people to get visas to get into the U.S. It's not easy. So yeah, in that aspect, but I don't know how much easier it would be for them unless they're in their own country to get into. Unauthorized drug selling, brawling with police upon being arrested, says Francesco. Oh, I didn't know he brawled with police. I remember there was an issue where they were trying to, during the COVID year, he has a gym in Liverpool called Prophecy Performance Center. I think he's opening up a second location. They were staying open during the pandemic, during the lockdown, in violation of the directives from the UK government. And I know that was an issue. And I think people were like leaving the gym and getting arrested at that point. So yeah, that was a rough. Yeah, Francisco says Hadi's already in the US. Those of you who don't know that, you don't follow sport that closely because you'd be checking up on these Instagram pages. But Hadi's been here for almost a month. He's all set. John Fuad, men's physique and classical lineups are always stacked to the hill, then opens planned after, which leads to delays and a lot of guys spilling over their shape. Yeah, because open has to usually it's that concept of saving the best for last. The division that's the most prestigious and the most anticipated, that most people have the most interest in, is the open bodybuilding, the Mr. Olympia, and that's held last. So those guys, it's like they never really know when they're going to go on. They're going to go on. They thought they had like a rough estimate last year, but they can't go on until all the other divisions have been judged. And it's funny because like whenever I'm covering shows, people will be asking me, what time does men's open go on? What time does 212 go on? What time does classic go on? It's as if there was a way I could say 8:22, the classic physique goes on. 9:08, the men's open. There's no way to tell you exactly when. I could say, well, they're on figure now, and they still have to get through like wellness, fitness, men's physique. We can have like rough ideas, very rough ideas of when various divisions are going to hit the stage, but it is not exact at all. So whenever you guys, I don't hope it's nobody on this chat, but whenever guys say, what time does so-and-so go on? There's no answer to that. There's no accurate answer to that, not even remotely. It's just a guess. The dark truth. Hadi faces almost the same situation, but somehow gets a visa. Why is it against Nathan? Well, like I said, Hadi has a huge advantage over a lot of these other people because he is employed by a United States-based company, Evogen Nutrition. He's an employee. So he can get, I don't know immigration law that well, but you can get work visas. I assume he's here on a work visa because he is here to work. That's what he's doing. He's producing video content for them now. He's preparing to represent them at the Olympia as their sponsored athlete. So he's legitimately here working for Evogen while he's getting ready for the Olympia. Francisco, because if Nathan's legal issue, yeah. Trailblazers are not cocky, confident. Yeah, if you like a guy, it comes down to perception. If you like an athlete for whatever reason, the same statements, the same demeanor can be looked at as confident. If you don't like the guy for whatever reason, you could say he's cocky or arrogant. Like if you go watch Pumping Iron, some of the shit that Arnold said, it could be construed as incredibly cocky and arrogant, but because he was Arnold, everyone loved him. They just said, wow, he's so confident. But if someone else did that they didn't like, they'd be like, he's a jerk. What an a-hole. So it's just perception, different perceptions of the same exact behavior based on your own preconceived notions or opinions of the person. Now we're getting racial. People hate confident black men. I would argue to say that most people, Trailblazer, they don't like confident people in general because most people are not confident. They're not successful. So they tend to hate people that are confident and successful. Yeah, you could probably make an argument that maybe that's taken to another level when it's someone of a different race or ethnicity that another race or ethnicity doesn't like or is prejudiced against. Yeah, you don't want to see them succeed or be confident more so than like people of your own race or ethnic group. I don't know, but yeah. Why was he denied entry? We don't really know, Ariane. We don't really know why he was denied. He doesn't seem to know. He has had legal issues in the past. That could be it. He doesn't seem to think that has anything to do with it, and I don't know. Maybe it was a paperwork thing. We don't know yet. We don't know exactly why. When this is over, I'll stop and you can replay it in the beginning, or you can just go to Nathan De Asha to his Instagram. In his stories, he's talking about the whole situation. He's very upset because he got here yesterday to Orlando. I'm on the East Coast of the U.S. I'm up in Boston. He got to the U.S. yesterday at the Orlando airport. Customs and Immigration would not let him through. They would not let him through, so they're putting him up. I think they were putting him up in the hotel overnight, and then he was going to have to fly back to UK. They were putting him back on a plane to the UK today. What's this Red Panda stuff? Nathan had a chance to make top 10 for sure. Absolutely. He's been 7th place. He's been 9th place. He's been top 10 in the Olympia twice, and he's only done it a couple times. Yeah. Nathan De Asha contest record. Can I go to that? Let's see if I can find him from Mr. Olympia. I'll show you guys one of the years he was in the Olympia. Right, so 2018, that'd be a good year for him. Yeah. All right, so this is, I'll show you Nathan at the 2018 Olympia. Here we go. Share. So here he comes. I turn the music off. This was the last Olympia Nathan was in. It was 2018. It was in Las Vegas. World Bodybuilding Archive. It's their video, but I don't have to really credit them because they took this clearly off the live stream anyway. It's not there. They don't own this footage. They could easily get a copyright strike for using it, I'm sure, but because they just stole his whole routine. So yeah, this was the year. Let's see how he placed. Here, 2018. How did he do this year? I think that was the year he got ninth. So I'm gonna look up 2018, not 2020. 2018 Mr. Olympia. Okay, the results were, Wikipedia always has the correct results. All right, so this show, Nathan got 8th place and $20,000. He beat Cedric McMillan, Steve Kuklo, a bunch of other people. So this was the year Roden won. This was 2018. Second was Phil Heath. Third, Rolly Winkler. Fourth, William Bonac. Fifth, Brandon Curry. Sixth, Big Ramy. Seventh, Dexter Jackson. And Nathan. So Nathan, he got beat this year by some damn good people. Sean Roden, Phil Heath, a 7-time Olympia champ. Rolly, Bonac, Curry, Big Ramy, and Dexter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 out of the 7 people that beat him at this particular Olympia either had already won the Olympia or would go on to win the Olympia. So, yeah. Yeah, he looked damn good. Nathan and Beirut were favorites for top 10. Yeah. I've never seen, I was really looking forward. I was looking forward to seeing them both, but I've seen Nathan a few times compete in real life. I was at the New York Pro when he won. I was at the Olympias that he did. I've never seen Beirut Tabani compete. He has not competed on U.S. soil. I've never seen him. I was really looking forward to him. I'm very impressed with him. We already know he's got a criminal record. Some guys just have to keep a clean record. Nathan's so cocky for himself, see? Yeah, I mean, if it's someone else that stocked the same way and you liked him, you'd probably say he was just confident. Barbells, dumbbells, that's it. Praying for Nathan, not a huge fan of physique, but I admire how competitive it is. Yeah, these guys all work hard. You have to, regardless of whether you love someone or hate someone in the sport, you've got to respect them because this is a tough sport. It's a hard sport to make money at. It's a hard sport to have longevity at. It's brutal on the body. It's so demanding 24/7. Every meal is weighed out. They have to get every workout. It's so involved. There's so much work, time, effort that goes into these physiques. And they don't get the financial rewards that people in so many other sports get. Multi-million-dollar contracts, deals, endorsements. You have guys in baseball and basketball in particular that they get, some of these contracts are worth $100 million or more. They're being paid by a team like the Yankees or something. They'll give these guys $120 million on a multi-year deal. Mr. Olympia, our top guy, our top champion gets $400,000. $400,000 is not a chump change, but compared to someone that's getting, $20-30 million a year to do their sport, yeah, it's not really. Tonio Burton again. No, I don't think Tonio's going to be top 6. He's got a great physique, but to get top 6, it's very crowded. He would have to. So Derek and Hadi, they're top 6 already, right? There's no question. No one arguing on that one. Samson Dowd and Nick Walker. You guys, anybody arguing that they're not going to be top 6? That's 4 guys already. Andrew Jack, you tell me he won't be top 6? That's 5. Brandon Curry, looking pretty damn good. Krizo, Hunter. He would have to beat a couple of those other people to get there, and I don't see him doing it yet. I like his physique a lot. I like him as a person. I think he needs a little bit more size to get up to that level of top 6 at the Olympia. I think he's definitely going to be in the running for top 10. And you can never say someone's a lock for top 10. Even if like Andrew Jack or Nick Walker, if they show up spilled over, like for, God forbid, food poisoning or something happens and their physique's just off, they're not going to be up the top. You have to look good on that day, even if you are a big name. probably go back to some other example. Scribbler says, and I don't know if this is true. This is going off what he's saying. He was given an 18-month jail sentence in 2012, years before the drug dealing, for inciting, looting, and rioting. Okay, I knew that. That I did know because there were some riots in London. He did serve time for that. Yeah, but that was many years ago. We're talking over a decade ago. Mark Max Muscle, I think Rambo was filmed in Vancouver. Wow, a lot of movies. I remember Rumble in the Bronx or something with Jackie Chan, which is supposed to be in the Bronx, New York, right? But then I remember like some shots. Vancouver must have mountains somewhere in the background because there was like an exterior shot. And I'm looking at these mountains, I'm like, there's no freaking mountain ranges near the Bronx. This is bullshit. But yeah, they go to Vancouver to save a lot of money. It's a lot cheaper to shoot there than it is like in Los Angeles or New York. So Nathan can't get to Olympia. It looks like he can't make it, miss the earlier portion. So he was denied entry yesterday or last night into Orlando from U.S. Customs and Immigration. He is he's probably on a plane right now as we speak back to United Kingdom. They're going to be talking to lawyers. He's still trying to get here. He's not giving up. It's not looking good, but things could happen. It could be a last minute thing. He could get here. Nobody here knows for sure what the whole situation is and what his chances are. You would have to know every little detail. You would also have to know everything about how the whole customs, immigration, and visa rules apply to people with various backgrounds from various countries. You would have to be like an immigration attorney and know his whole case history to really have an informed opinion on this. And I don't, and none of you guys do either. Why did they choose Romania for Masters? So, John, I believe that was because Jake Wood's partner in promotions is Alina Popa, pro IFBB pro female bodybuilder. Alina is from Romania. I believe she's been instrumental in these Romania Muscle Fests contests that they've been doing that show for a few years now. I believe Tim Gardner, Wings of Strength are all part of the promotion too, but she has great connections over there. They have 5-star venues, great production teams and quality. So yeah, I don't know why. I think, but you should be happy because everyone's saying they should have the Olympia in Europe. Well, they threw you guys this bone. You can have the Masters Olympia there because I don't believe it's coming. I bet it's going to stay there in Romania. I bet they'll just keep it in Romania. And I believe our U.S. athletes did have to pay their own way to get there. So a lot of extra expense and inconvenience for the U.S. athletes competing in the Masters Olympia, less so for the people in, I guess, Europe, Eastern Europe particularly. I guess Western Europe. But yeah, but that's why they chose Romania because Alina, who works very closely with Jake Wood with promoting the Olympia and various events like the Rising Phoenix, she is Romanian and has a lot of great connections for promoting events over there. So it just made sense. Now we're talking about Rambo First Blood was filmed in Hope in British Columbia, says Scribbler. Yeah, I love that movie. That's my favorite Rambo movie, The First Blood, where, it's very different from the other Rambo movies. It's more like a real movie, like a drama. The other ones kind of got hokey and they were just, action fest with a lot of explosions and massive gunfights and everything. The first one was more of a real gritty story. I like the first Rambo movie, the one that was just called First Blood. Did you know the first choice for that role was John Travolta? It was not Stallone, but I don't know if it was a conflict that he already had a commitment for another film or he just didn't want it. I'm not sure what the circ, but Travolta didn't end up doing it, and Stallone ended up being the John Rambo character, which is great. I can't imagine. I'm sure Travolta would have done a good job, but to me, nobody else could have played Rocky except Stallone. Nobody. And I don't think anybody could have been Rambo other than Stallone either. It's just iconic. The character and the actor in those characters, to me, they're like one and the same. Rocky IV. Well, I know Rocky IV was not filmed in the Soviet Union. It was probably Canada. It's probably like Ohio or Wisconsin or something. Black Angel. Buenos días, amigos. Sad news that Nathan was denied again. Yeah. Lo siento. Triste. Qué triste. Qué lástima, as they say in the Spanish countries. It's like, too bad. It sucks. Qué lástima. It does suck. I wanted to see him. Whether you like him or whether you like an athlete or you don't like him, I think you want all the best athletes up there. And he has been top 10 in the Olympia twice. He's got two pro wins this season already. He belongs on the Olympia stage. Whether you like the guy or you hate the guy, I think you have to concede. Yes, he belongs in the Olympia. He should be in the Olympia. Greetings from Mexico. Saludos de Mexico. Get a flight to Mexico, then walk over. That's hilarious. I mean, you'd have to sneak in. You can't just walk through. You would have to like sneak under a fence or something. John May, I know he's employed, but even sanctioned travel bans are what matters. Well, we're talking about Hadi Choopan, I guess, Mr. Olympia. He's gotten in. Who got fourth in 2020? Who are we talking about? We could go to 2020 Mr. Olympia results. No exclamation point. You guys got to bear with me. This is live. This is real time. And I type so slowly with these little, because I make so many mistakes typing on a phone. So I want results. You guys are wondering who he never got as high as fourth. But Wikipedia. Okay, so the 2020 Olympia, if you're asking, champion was Big Ramy Mamadou Elsbié. It was his first Olympia win. This was the COVID year, remember. Second place was Brandon Curry, who had won in 2019, the year before. Third place was Phil Heath, and this was the last time we've seen, 2020 was the last time we've seen Phil Heath on stage. Yeah, fourth, Hadi Choopan. So you're talking about Hadi. Hadi got fourth, and that was the year that I believe he was like fourth in after Friday, after the judging. I think in the finals where they did the confirmation round, I think he got third, but the way the points worked out for both nights, adding them up, he still ended up getting fourth. I believe that's what happened because he had just arrived, cut it very close because of the visa issues. I think he had to go through Dubai. It was a rough time for him. And he showed up at the last minute and he still was holding water from the flight. And it took Hani an additional day to get the water off, get the water out of him, off of him, whatever, however you want to say it. The second finals. Yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I think he took second to finals. You're right. But he ended up in fourth overall. Dorian Coleman, Hadi is hard and grainy. He'll win, mature muscle. Yeah, I mean, he could win. He might win. Derek might win. Samson might win. I've seen so many upsets because I've been going to the Olympia since 1991. I've seen so many upsets that, people would say, oh my God, I didn't think he would win. Like the year Roden won. Not too many people saw Roden, even though he'd been as high as third. I don't think too many people expected him to win that year. Curry the next year, I mean, prior to like 2017, nobody was ever talking about Brandon Curry as being a potential Mr. Olympia winner. So there are a lot of surprises at the Olympia. You never know what's going to happen. We got some guys speaking Danish to each other. Kurja Finger for Patrick Comer. I don't know. Now we got Olympia predictions. Dorian Coleman says Hadi, Samson, Derek. Spelling Derek wrong. It's Terek. Nick, Brandon, Andrew, Hunter, Grizo. Wow. So that's 8. That's 8 guys you went down. This is more. You guys are speaking more Dutch or Danish. Sorry if I keep saying. You guys are speaking Danish to each other in the chat there. Derek looks more improved than Hadi. That's my feeling. That's why I keep saying this. Is I don't think Hadi's gotten better. Hadi was already great. I think Hadi's as good as he's going to get. I mean, how much he can't get much bigger. He's already packing so much muscle in that frame. Derek, who was, just a few years ago, Derek in 2017 was a light heavy when he turned pro at the USA. He was getting down to 212 for these 212 Olympias that he did. And he took second last year. Sorry, it's something like 230. So he's put on a lot of muscle, and he's getting that quality because that's what I think he needed. I don't think he needed much more size necessarily. He did need a little more legs. He's done that. But what Derek needed was more muscle maturity, more detail, striations, cuts, splits. He's getting that. That takes time. That's what Hadi Choopan already had. That really mature, grainy. We call it old man muscle. Not that he's an old man. But it takes years and years of very hard, very heavy training to get that look. And Derek is hitting his stride now. He's like 30 years old. I think he's just 30. He's entering his prime now. Hadi's a few years older. He's already been at that level for a few years. So if one guy stays the same and one guy gets better, and last year, remember, they were only 2 points apart after the judging last year. So if you got 2 guys that are that close and one of them stays the same and one gets better, as far as I'm concerned, the guy who got better, he's going to win. But we don't know. The Olympia should hire Behruz. Yeah, I mean, they could say the Olympia should be taking care of all this, but they would need a whole legal team of immigration lawyers like working all year. You could say, well, maybe they should do that. Maybe that's what they need to do. They have the money, they have the resources. They're not doing it, so whatever. Misery loves company, Bartlett. So when someone is confident, perhaps very happy people don't actually enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, confident people, they're a threat to confident and successful people. People who aren't confident and are not successful, they're a threat. They perceive these people as a threat because they point out their own failures or lack of courage or lack of confidence. So yeah, you'll see people who lack confidence. They're the ones who are loudest. Like trolls, the people who talk the most shit online and on social media about guys and girls who look really good. Typically they have no picture because they wish they could look like those people. They wish they had the discipline. Obviously genetics and gear play big roles too, but they hate these people because they want to be them. And they're very upset that these people look great and they're living their best life and they make a good living and they're happy. Who knows? And they're not. So it's the essence of being a hater. Oh, now we're in Danish again. I assume that's Danish. Spillage Village. I know for sports like the NFL, when they play in London, they only need a passport and a temp visa. I wonder if IB can do anything to help in situations. Maybe moving forward, that's something that they'll, the Olympia is always trying. I know Dan Solomon fairly well. They're always trying to make the event better for everybody. That's their goal. Make a better event, a better experience for the fans, better experience for the athletes. So they're constantly looking for ways to improve on it. Maybe that is something that they will do moving forward. Okay. I'm going right past all this Danish because I don't speak a word. But you guys are having a great. Yeah, so Spillage Village points out, we're talking about how there's not a lot of money in bodybuilding. NFL league minimum, $700,000. So the guy who is the worst player never gets off the bench all season long in the NFL. He never even gets on the field once. He's still getting $700,000 just to be there. Our best, and the best guys in football, the very top quarterbacks, and they're getting wide receivers, they're getting millions of dollars from their team to play. But even the worst guy gets $700,000. Our best bodybuilder in the world is only being paid $400,000 to win that contest in Mr. Olympia. And the IFBB Pro League does not pay salaries to anybody. It's on the athletes. They can earn money through. The only way they can, directly get money from competing is by winning the prize money. Everything else they have to do on their own, secure their own sponsorships, and you don't have to compete. We have influencers who have these great sponsorships and contracts and endorsement deals that don't even compete. So it's a different world. More Danish. I'm going right past it because, wow, it's you guys are having a whole debate here in Danish. Didn't you say it was Denmark? Okay, now we're back to someone in English. Amus. Thanks, Ron. Really want to see him here. Bummer. Yeah, I think 9 or 10 would have been highest Nathan would get. But he belongs in that lineup. He's cocky, but does it in a fun way. I like him. Yeah. Hadi. Marx just says Hadi. I don't know what you mean. Phil got third. Where are we going back? Where do you think Nick will place at the O? Goku Luffy? I mean, as high as first, as low as sixth. It's, anything could happen. So he was third last year. He could be third again. Could be second. Who knows? He could win. You never know. I never say somebody can't win because I've seen so many surprises at the Olympia over the years. So it doesn't matter where I think he's going to place. It's going to go whatever way it's going to go. Oh, no, we're back to Danish. Go cool Luffy. Thought he was a cool guy until he started talking shit about other competitors crying on social media. No one's picking him to win. Oh, is that Nick? Is that who we're talking about? That's not true. He has a lot of fans, and those fans are all picking him. He's huge on Instagram. How many followers does he have now, Nick Walker? Yeah, he's not being talked about as a potential winner the way, obviously people are very. Hadi's a defending champion. Derek was the winner last year. So, of course, those are the two favorites. Samson, a lot of people think it's time for a taller guy with really pretty shape, which he has. Samson has he has a waist of like a 200-pound guy, but he's 300 pounds. So, yeah, Nick Walker has 1.4 million fans on Instagram, so tremendously popular. Those people are certainly supporting him and believe in him and think he can and will win. So yeah, a lot of the people making Olympia predictions don't have them winning. But third place is damn good last year. Anybody if you're in the top 3 at the Olympia, you're certainly capable of winning under the right circumstances. You certainly are. Yeah, M12. This has been suggested even in this chat like 10, 12 times already. It must be financially, it must make a lot more sense to them to keep it in the USA. That's my only guess. But, maybe it'll move outside the US. Who knows what's going to happen? We thought it was going to stay in Vegas forever. And then because of the pandemic, it had to go to Florida for a couple of years. Went back to Vegas last year. This is all still in the US, I know, but I'm saying the locations shift. Hadi looks, David Al-Wawi, Hadi looks better than Derek. I'm afraid politics might get involved. I think Derek might be a better. Well, Derek's got a prettier shape. I don't think you can deny that. He beats Hadi in the back shots. I don't think you can argue that. Hadi, obviously, he's Mr. Olympia. He's got an incredible physique, so much dense, detailed muscle mass. Big guy with incredible conditioning. But, Derek's right there with him. They were very, very close last year. Hey, what's up? I can't read your name. I don't speak Danish or Arabic, or I barely speak English, as you can see. Brandon Looney Tunes. Your birthday's less than a week. Well, happy birthday. It's Danish. It's okay. I don't need it. You'll be 23. You're a young whippersnapper. My son's older than you. My daughter will be 30 in April. Ooh. Thank you, Dorian. Ryan Giles is doing a great job. Wow, I've been on this thing a long time. How long has it been? Ooh, an hour and 21 minutes. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up. If you catch this in the replay, you can go back in the beginning, or you can go to Nathan De Asha's Instagram stories, and he gives you his whole take on what happened. He was denied entry into the United States at Orlando Airport. They did not let him through customs immigration. They put him up at a hotel for the night, or somebody put him up, and he's probably on his way back to UK right now. He's going to deal with some lawyers. He's going to try very hard to get to the US. I don't know if he'll be successful, but he's a hardworking guy, and he really wants to get to the Olympia. And hasn't been in the Olympia since 2018. He's qualified several times, does not go. So I'd love to see him make it through. Love to see him compete again. And that's it, man. So I'm wishing him the best. Thank you guys for joining me on this Saturday morning. And I'm going to sign off. Ron Harris, MD Online Editor. Talk to you guys later.